welcome to another Sunday Inside Texas live show brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Joined with my guys here in Nash Talks, Texas, Justin Wells, who's had a busy weekend. He made a trip down to 40 acres. Gentlemen, we doing okay?
Yes, sir. Doing all right. Doing
Man,
fine.
I'm blessed, man. This sun is nice outside. The breeze isn't too bad. This is long sleeve weather. This is hoodie weather. This is football playoff weather.
Yeah, I had to say that about 200 times to my 5-year-old flag kids yesterday because, boy, the wind was ripping, and we were out there a long time. Look at these lips. I look like I'm wearing lipstick right now. I'm chapped to heck. But, yeah, so it's great to be with you gentlemen right now. I appreciate all you guys hopping in here and commenting early on. And real quick, guys, go ahead and hop on over to Inside Texas. Join the community. Become a part of the Inside Texas for just 50% off of this Transfer Portal fan bundle. Come see all the work by Nash Talks Texas, by Justin Wells, Evan Veith, Eric Nah, everybody involved over there, killing it, doing a great job. So, yeah, come check it out and join IT today. Don't wait. But, all right, guys, let's get back to it. And, again, more comments. I appreciate you guys. But, yeah, all right, so obviously J-Do, busy man yesterday. He rolled down to Austin, checked out some junior day, and we'll get to that towards the end of the show. But first, the hot topic of the entire college football landscape right now, the old transfer portal. Texas not done yet there. Still a little bit of work to be done. I think everybody knows what we're talking about. You want to add at least an offensive lineman, perhaps more. Justin, going to you, my man, it's pretty dang late in the game. What all are you hearing on that end, the portal end, the offensive lineman end? And, is there any other positions maybe that we should look out for Texas finishing late with?
It's funny. You said it's pretty late in the game. I think we're going to learn that this portal stuff is going to stretch out over the spring. Now, it's not going to have the same intensity that it's had the last few weeks, especially when I think with the holiday tomorrow, technically the closing day is going to be like early Wednesday morning. I think there's like a 48-hour window there. But I think that the whole urgency crash is pretty much done. Texas at this point is going to be very, very judicious with who they look at. They absolutely want to add another guard. They really want to add 2 guards. They would really like to add 2 guards simply because, I could see Brandon Baker sliding in and playing some right guard next year. But with Trevor Gooseby out this spring, Brandon Baker is going to be manning left tackle. And Baker and Melvin Sienna have both 2 years eligibility still going with these tackle spots. So I'm not certain that Baker needs to be a guard, to be quite honest with you. They need at least 2 guards, one for sure, one starter for sure. And Sikorsky coming off the bench, I think, would be an ideal situation. And then I think they're going to grab at least one more guy on the defensive side of the ball. I would love another 4-eye edge because PK's edges were a little skinny in the britches when you had like a Kosiak Paul and a Smith Arogbo. This 4-eye edge is a little bit bigger, like a Lance Jackson. So I think they could use another one of those guys just from a rotation standpoint. They don't have to necessarily have one, but I think Alan Clark and Will Muschamp would welcome a guy in that spot with some experience. And give me a linebacker. We need an inside linebacker. Like, I love the 2 guys they brought in. They lost, but they're not replacing everybody yet. They lost more than they brought in at this point. And you can make an argument. Sark has upgraded the entire roster room by room, except linebacker. That's the thing they're still in the process of working on. I talked to a source on, I guess it was, my days flying by, Friday or Saturday, about Aaron Carter, the linebacker out of Tennessee. It doesn't look like Texas has any interest there right now. Prince Will, I saw here, a kid out of Manor. Princely's little brother is how we used to refer to him because saying that last name is not East Texan. Prince Will would be a dude, man. I mean, you talk about a kid. He was he really went under the radar. His brother was the big time kid. Prince Will would be a perfect 4-eye in that spot. But like a lot of these guys, don't be surprised if their agents have some fun with this and they wind up coming back to the schools that they started with. But right now, that's really what it is. Get you a couple more offensive linemen, 1 for sure, 2 to be safe. Get you a 4-eye edge and potentially get you another inside linebacker. You're going to need depth. You're going to need numbers at that spot. I think they took a big chunk out. When losing Elijah Bo Barnes is probably going to be the one guy that hurts this team the most. In the bigger picture, that kid was a future star. He would have probably been a rotational kid this year. That's the one that stings the most. Give me another inside linebacker, and then we can call it a day.
Oh, well said all around, man. And agents having fun in the transfer portal. I mean,
in 2026, what?
Shocked to hear that, man. That is pretty crazy. But no, man, I think you nailed it. And at one point, I want to make to the fans, 2 weeks ago, it's straight panic. We're talking about It felt like every position group that needed to be upgraded. We needed an ad here. We needed backs. We needed a receiver. We needed cam. We needed linemen. We needed a little bit of everything. JJ, it's getting narrower and narrower and narrower. So if you know that Sark and these guys are going to be very, very focused. Justin said something that I also want to touch on. You mentioned it might be stretched out a little bit. And I feel the way that a lot of these schools operate, a lot of these kids operate, if something wants to be done bad enough, I feel like in college football, there's always a way for it to be, for it to come to fruition. And you've seen that. I'm not saying any example with Texas, but just across the board, it seems to always, it always has a way of happening. And so what does that mean for us? Does that mean we go pull and tamper with 2 big guards? I'm not saying that, but nothing would shock me is my point. If it was February, if it was March, because again, some of these things, every situation is unique in its own right. So
don't forget, they don't necessarily have to go into the portal. You can have a player leave campus today and go enroll somewhere tomorrow. They don't have to go through a database. Buddy, this is an unyielding cycle, guys, that we in the new college football. So the portal, it's not going to be that panic and tense kind of stuff, but this is where Texas kind of, I think, does the best. Because Sark, when you got past Jaleel Billingsley and Ajay Hall portal takes, Texas hasn't missed on any of these guys. They really haven't. They get culture guys, they get vets that kind of buy in. And so I think that's kind of where that goes.
No, everybody that he finds helps. I will say that. Go ahead, Nash.
I was going to say, I mean, this is kind of the thought process too of why you brought in Steve Sarkisian and Jeff Banks. Is these are guys from the Alabama era where they thrived in the gray area. So the gray area, that's where we're going to get our money made.
And real quick, I want to address this question before we kind of move on with a little more portal talk. But how do you guys feel about the January portal? And if you're not a fan, where would you like it to fall?
Not during the season. I mean, honestly, they need to move the signing day back to February, and that portal needs to come right after that.
Yeah.
Because then you get a 2-week window because you're not in spring ball till the earliest of March. And so you still have that window. You're stacking events on top of each other, cramming it within a 6-week window. No other sport does that. You know why? Because other sports have leadership. They have guidance and they have backbone. NCAA doesn't. College football doesn't. And so this calendar, terrible. Coaches hate it. Players hate it. Agents love it because they can take advantage of vulnerable programs that are in this type of a window. I'd like it completely changed. Is that going to happen? Probably not. Watch them open it sooner. I mean, let's open it during conference play, for crying out loud. I mean, what the hell? I mean, it make any sense you want. And wait till a player takes NCAA to court to try to get that window open or to try to get an early one in, and then they get denied. It's a giant mess. I don't know how to fix it, but I think signing day needs to go back to where it was. There's no reason coaches who are getting ready for the playoffs, getting ready for a conference championship, getting ready for a bowl need to be dealing with signing day. It's just ridiculous. It was fun at first. It was a novel idea. The first couple of years, I felt like it did pretty well. No, we need to go back. It did not fix it. It actually made it worse. And then this portaling thing kind of doubled down on it. They just got to space it out. I'm not saying anything you guys don't know and the members and the viewers don't know. I don't have the answers, though. And I know who else doesn't have the answers, and that's NCAA.
Yeah,
it's been the case for a long time, it seems.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, looking at the early portal window or early signing day, it's like the only guys that were signing in that day at first was the guys that were fully committed and you knew were going to sign already. And it's like at that point, the only benefit was we impatiently got to see our team ranking go up a little bit or, really what our class was going to look like. But personally, I'd like to see this portal after spring ball where, all these guys, they kind of and lets the coaches get a real idea of what their depth chart is. Hey, in the summer, we have a summer window. Then we can go out there, get all these guys for fall camp, and then we can go in. But to what you said about the NCAA, I don't trust them at all. I think they'd be more likely to put a window at the end of fall camp right before the season.
I like a spring window, but we ain't putting up double doors, French doors, or any of that stuff up in this house. One window. Just one. After the spring is perfect because that's when you know what you got coming out of spring ball. You know what you kind of got to go find. And then from, a standpoint of retention, okay, I better hang on to this backup corner because he could probably potentially start for a rival down the road. It could help you manage it a little bit more. And one real quick thing, somebody on here said early enrollees. Before National Signing Day was in December, early enrollees just enrolled early. They didn't have to have a pomp and circumstance and the flags and the balloons and the hat show. They didn't do it. They didn't have to do that. Early enrollees in the past, they just showed up to school. They showed up to the practice field and got ready to work out. And so the early enrollees wouldn't be mess with this at all if they were to change it back to February.
And we say that we're begging for February. I agree with you. I would like a much closer beyond signing day, to be honest. I think maybe that helps us, the interest, the just how fans got into it. Yeah, get out of the fan. I feel like fans, for one, you get out of the season, and the high school recruiting, it gets the attention that it deserves, in my opinion, because it's kind of taking a big major backseat to the portal right now. And again, I get it. You know what I mean? These kids can transfer out. Some people they don't dive into the recruiting scene as much as they would have before, knowing that this guy, hey, even though he may sign as a 4 or 5 star, he may not be on campus in 12 months or 18 months. We say all this, and they're probably more likely to stick it in the middle of rivalry weekend there in late November than they are to put it where it needs to be. Because, again, we are talking about and dealing with the NCAA right here. Justin, I want your opinion because on Wednesday's show, Nash and I had a little bit of a disagreement here. Would you add another safety to the transfer portal class for Texas?
If Derek Williams didn't come back, 100%. But the Raptor came back. And listen, he wasn't himself. He was in the early Jurassic Park stages in 2025. He wasn't fully back himself. He didn't get fully back into that motion. I think this offseason is going to be huge for him. Listen, Blake Gideon's hire was instrumental in bringing Derek Williams back. And if you don't forget, Derek Williams was a starter as a true sophomore on that, I believe, 24 team before he got hurt for the year. And Andrew Makuba came in and made himself a star. And so, yeah, we were talking about, safety is going to have to be something you look at because also Jelani had the opportunity to leave early. Guys, Jelani McDonald wasn't going past day 2 in the NFL draft. That was not happening.
He's an athletic freak.
Absolutely. I covered that kid in 4 separate sports in high school, and he won in all 4 sports. And so it's like, that's exactly who he is. But with the bringing back of Derek Williams, with Jordan Johnson-Rebel being able to do some star, also being able to play some boundary safety as well, I really like. The biggest question is going to be Jonah Williams. That's going to be the one because I have a feeling if Jonah Williams has a really good season in baseball this year, I wonder what his future is going to bring. I'm trying to be as delicate as possible because that's a baseball family. They all played baseball. They all grew up doing it. And that's the vision for Jonah is to play stickball, for a living. And so if he has a good season this year, I think that question of safety and DB, I think that comes back up because he's not going to be there all of spring. You're not going to see him again until August. He didn't really do any developing and growing in this last year because you only had him for the season. So I think the Jonah Williams thing is a caveat to, hey, I think they're good back there, but let's wait and see where Jonah, kind of factors in when the summer comes around. And but with Derek Williams coming back, I think that solidifies that spot back there.
Yeah, I think that when you're looking at Jonah Williams, to be honest, as a baseball fan, I'm more worried about losing him to football than I am to baseball. That from what I've heard, but I don't really, just personally, I'm not really too worried about it. And then also, from what I've heard, he will actually still be participating somewhat with football during baseball season, obviously to a limited degree. But and I've joked with Cord, like Muschamp is going to have his fun ribbing him when he gets on the field in fall practice. Like, hey, well, okay, of course Jonah, who wasn't here, we got to slow down for him, got to slow down for Jonah. But I everything that I've heard, that there's not really too much worry.
And I like Blake Gideon being back because Blake and Jonah were actually really close in that recruitment. And so I like Blake getting back. Maybe Blake can pull something out of him because I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Dwayne Akina set the safety room back last year. They took a step back. You were lucky that you had a quarterback in Michael Taft. You were lucky that you had a playmaker in Jelani McDonald. Otherwise, that was a disaster back there. So with Gideon back, I think Jonah maybe gets a little bit more, but and no knocking on him. Like he can do both sports. I'm just telling you guys, if that kid hits 340 or 350 in 2026, we'll have to see what he does.
And you definitely can't roll that out.
But it's a baseball family. Just understand that it's a baseball family.
And one real quick question on touching back on the Derek Williams, and that's my thing is Derek is the Raptor? Will it be the same player? Justin, you feel confident he kind of gets his juice back because you could tell maybe a half step slow, but as you said, with that type of injury, that's to be expected. Doesn't mean he can't regain it.
You know the rule, no half stepping. You know the rule, and with Jonah, I mean with Derek, I think that's kind of what we saw. I don't know if it was as much him not being back to healthy and his twitchy self, or if there was too much on in the game plan, or too much. He was thinking too much and not reacting like he usually did. And I put some of that on Akina. I put some of that on the defensive scheme, and also put some of that on the fact that he was trying to get back into game speed and game shape. If he gets back to that, buddy, there's going to be no drop off. But that's a big if. And I think, again, the Blake Gideon factor helps that. I think that's a guy that's going to respond to him. I think that's a guy that's going to feed him and understand how to – just trust me when I tell you, those DBs in that room loved Gideon. They didn't like it when he left. They love him. He got the most out of him. I do think that's going to be a big help with Derek Williams as well.
Well said there. And to me, from everything I've heard, it seems like Blake is a bit of a player's coach. You know what I mean? Like players feel like they can go to – yeah.
He's hard. Now, listen, man, he is strict, but they respond to that, guys. They respect it. He doesn't insult them. He doesn't cuss at him and scream at him like the guy before him. He comes and he's a teacher, and they respect that.
Well, an elite athlete, like this is what gets lost on these guys. They want to be coached hard. They don't want
most of them.
They don't want most, yeah. But I mean, but look, the elite. I'm talking about the elite mindset guys. They do not want somebody kissing their butt. They don't want somebody, blowing smoke up their, I mean, like they understand that there's another level that they can get to, and that if that guy's, getting on to me, then he knows I can do it. He's not just being an asshole.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I was gonna say, I'm so proud of you for refraining from cussing on the Lord's Day. Now
I tried, but then it just slipped.
It's fair. Dante, appreciate you watching again, my man. Jordan Seaton, to me, seems over. Justin Nash, any comments there?
It was over 5 seconds after Melvin signed Sienna. I'm gonna have to figure that out. I'm gonna have to figure out how to say that name. It was over 5 minutes after they signed. They figured out. Listen, this Melvin kid is really good, and he's got 2 more years, and he has no problem playing right tackle. And you could get him at a really good discount, and add you a couple guards and potentially another linebacker on the other side. It's also about resource allocation, and I think Sark and the staff, if they didn't have a Trevor Gooseby, Jordan Seaton's probably already signed. Let's just put it that way. But they have the number 1 tackle in college football. They have the All-SEC first team guy locking it down on the left side. They decided. Sienna's got such a good upside and had such a good career so far. They went that route. And I don't blame them, guys, because the Seaton stuff is going to continue to be kind of a soap opera. I don't know if you guys remember, Jordan was a big-time recruit out of IMG Academy, and nobody loved recruiting more than Jordan Seaton. Like Jordan Elliott level. Loved the recruiting process. Like he was really into it. And so I think the team was just like, do we really want to go through all this back, Let's get the guy that we know is good. He's proven. We know he's got 2 more years in him. Boom. And now in 2027, you're going into the season with 2 seasoned tackles in Sienna and Brandon Baker.
And one that run blocks a little bit better than the guy that has a very hefty price tag. I think Melvin's a little bit better on the tape as far as the run blocking, and that's where I need to see a lot of improvement. We know Kyle Flood can develop a pass protecting tackle. We've seen him do that and do that very, very well. But yeah, as you said, Jay, as soon as they brought Melvin into the fold, and now I'm self-conscious about pronouncing his last name because I thought I had it, and it's far off.
What was it?
I've been saying Siani, and now I'm just maybe I'm way off, and
Sienna,
I haven't looked.
Maybe Sienna because it ends in an A.
I'm going to Wake Forest roster.
I'm going. How
about we just say Melvin from Wake Forest until we get further confirmation?
That's it. Normally I do a little bit of homework, man. Busy week, and I just honestly thought I had it. But yeah, so that's why I've said Melvin twice in a row, and I like his his tape on the run game a little bit better than I like
Oh.
Seaton's, to be honest. And as you said, there's a little bit of a saga going on with old Seaton. There's always an uncle involved. Always an uncle.
God, that tweet, it was almost like he was reading our minds. Man,
incredible.
That was good stuff. That was
an
good
incredible
stuff.
tweet.
Yeah.
Maybe he knew what he was doing. Real quick,
Now
Vic.
he definitely knows what he's doing.
Vic, appreciate you watching, my man. And I mean, I just want to comment on this in particular because I think that X is going to be fantastic. But I mean, some elite athleticism. But I do agree with you. It might take another year before you can kind of trust him out there. And luckily, Jay feels pretty good about that safety room, it seems, and many others do as well. And so let's see what another year of him baking. We'll see what that looks like. But again, I know that was kind of a random tidbit, but had to bring that up. And real quick, guys, let's go ahead and hear a very, very, very quick word from our sponsor, Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Fast one.
Same day delivery powered by DoorDash.
Josh, you
That was
please.
fast.
Holy moly! What was it for?
6 seconds.
I don't know if that was 6 seconds. I don't know.
Okay, was that Academy through
It's
DoorDash? Like you could get your Academy gear through DoorDash?
Absolutely.
Look at that.
You got to get it. I'll be expecting an Academy care package from you, Jay, via DoorDash, of course, shortly after this. Just kidding. I don't like the Texans though, so no Texans gear. Sorry for you Texans guys out there. I do hope y'all win. I'll say that. But yeah, so I mean, as far as going for it right now, to appease the fan, do you have any names or anybody that you can speak on, Justin, that you've heard of that Texas maybe still really, really, really has an eye on out there?
No, can't do that right now. Since the portal's closed, those names, because you know what happens? You put those names out, and then when they don't happen, you know what happens? Disappointment. Oh, they missed on this guy. Well, actually, they kind of pulled off of that guy, but
he really wants to know.
But the fans will view it as, hey, who is it? It doesn't work that way. And honestly, we have to protect our sources as we have done through this entire portal process. We're not going to stray from that. Just understand, we told you there was a plan. They're executing it really well. Just keep seeing us at InsideTexas.com. Keep joining Cord and Justin on this show every day, every time, and you'll know when we need to know.
There's enough tidbits left out on the old trail there. You know what I mean? And that's well said by Justin. You got,
and there could be there's another game, guys. There could be a couple guys coming off these two rosters. Let me tell you something. Miami's got like 20 NFL guys. Okay, yeah. I don't think Indiana's going to lose many. That thing's turning into a juggernaut. And honestly, what's going to be the question? If they blow out Miami, no school in college football has an excuse anymore. None. I just think it's fanatic. I don't want to get into that. I was just that there's also could be some stuff, some guys coming off of Miami and Indiana that you could potentially be looking at. So, but that's why you got Brandon Harris and Chris Gilbert and the recruiting staff and the player personnel guys, and those guys are doing their homework. They're doing a great job.
No, absolutely. I mean, and again, it does seem like there's always been a big grand plan. And so if you think that grand plan just comes to a halt and pause, when it comes to arguably the most important position group on this football team as far as 2026 goes, and again, that's just maybe my personal opinion, but you got to be good in the trenches. You got to be able to protect Arch Manning and give this offense the ability to hit the upside that it's looking like it could have with all the very, very impressive skill talent that it has. But and all right, guys, just a few more minutes on here. J-Dub tracked all the way down to Austin, Texas. DKR was in good hands. Junior Day was in good hands. Give me the underclassmen, Jay. Give me the juniors. Give me the big names to know from Texas's Junior Day here in 2026.
We were out there yesterday, and Junior Day didn't have the same vibe that it's had in the past. I remember the Mack Brown Junior Days, and it was just so much excitement building up to it. Somebody on our board even mentioned, remember the days when he would get 14 commitments, which that's obviously a little bit of exaggeration. But, I mean, Mack Brown, he basically invented the Junior Day. Yep. And when he would get 14 commitments in the Junior Day, and I was thinking to myself, first of all, that would be terrifying. We don't have enough people to cover all that at once. Second of all, how many would take visits? How many agents are going to get involved? How many want to go on other officials? How many are going to decommit or stay committed but take more there's so many ifs. I don't think Texas, the worst thing Sark would want right now is 14 commitments to slam on him in 2027. If we've shown anything, they don't really move it until about November, December at the end of the year to where they really start pushing. And that gives them the opportunity to take evals all the way through their senior year. And I love that. You got USC, A&M, Texas Tech, and other schools that are stacking up early. Texas does it later for a reason. They want that full evaluation, especially after that senior year. Kasai Curry, that guy, number 3 defensive lineman in the country, was on campus yesterday. He was supposed to be in Baton Rouge. He took a wrong turn. He wound up in Austin, and he got to hang out with his teammate, that's former Chatsworth, California, Sierra Canyon defensive end, Richard Wesley. Curry has offers from everybody: Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Florida, USC. I mean, you can name them all. About 6'3.5". He was listed at 6'4", but I don't see it. 315. Loved it. Was blown away. I think Muschamp and Kenny Baker made a really good impression on him. Wesley kind of showed him around a little bit. Of course, Richard's just been on campus for a few weeks, so there's not a whole lot to glean from that. But Kasai Curry was the big name, especially from 2027. They're going to get him on an official visit in June. That's kind of when you need to pay more attention to him. Now, there's going to be some other trips. Maybe in the springtime, he's looking at potentially hitting some spring games, some scrimmages. I could see him doing that, but he really enjoyed himself. He even admitted he's going to hit LSU next weekend, and I believe Oregon after that. He's gonna travel, but Austin gave him a California vibe. He felt he stepped with the cold wind. He said they don't have that kind of cold wind in California, at least maybe in Northern California. But here's the other really important thing from Junior Day. I think Texas found their quarterback for 2027, and man, I've been asked that question for a year. Because we know traditionally Sark gets his guy pretty early, relatively early, before they're going into their junior seasons a lot of times. They didn't do that with this. They liked Kavian Bryant, but they didn't like him like Texas Tech liked him. And so Texas decided that you kind of want a bridge quarterback, with Dia Bell coming in. And of course, Bryant didn't necessarily want to follow that guy, and I don't know many that would want to either. I think he's going to be in a good situation in Lubbock. Ty Knutson, he's a 6'3", 200-pounder out of Smithson Valley. That's the Smithson Valley Rangers, Freddie DuBose and Clint Haney era. I've just showed my age in 1 second. I don't even know if y'all remember Clint Haney. Clint Haney in the early 2000s was one of the best running backs in the state of Texas. Committed to Texas, came on as a safety. Guy had some injuries, didn't make it. And of course, we know about Freddie, but Ty Knutson, I think Texas found their quarterback. He's got some nice offers, and he's not really ranked. He's very under the radar. Texas A&M and Texas Tech are probably his best ones. But for me, the number 3 D lineman coming in, skipping LSU to see Texas, to hang out with Wesley, to get to know Kenny Baker and Muschamp, I think that was huge. That was probably the biggest takeaway. And plus, I think we found Texas quarterback take for 2027. And Ty Knutson, I got to talk to him last night. We posted a story. I think it's only a matter of time. I asked him about a decision timeline, and he basically told me, I don't know, but it's probably going to be pretty quick. And that tells me all I need to know. I think the Horns have their guy. And so those are probably my 2 biggest takeaways.
Personally, I love to hear that, since I'm right here in New Braunfels and I have pretty good access to seeing Ty play football. I think I've seen him 3 or 4 times in the last couple of seasons. And I'm being honest, I went not expecting to see a lot out of the quarterback position, at Smithson, because there's a lot of times where they really don't ask him to do a lot. They're going to pound the run game. They're going to take a couple of shots, maybe get the screen game going, And again, every team is different. But yeah, I left very, very impressed. I was like, okay, I did not know that Smithson had a kid that could spin it like this. He's a big kid. He's a great athlete. And so, yeah, I mean, that to me, man, that's great to hear. Yeah, again, you get a kid to take a wrong turn out of Baton Rouge.
That's one heck of a wrong turn. That's one heck of a wrong turn.
I don't care who the current head coach is at LSU or what they've done or how they operate. That's a big deal on the recruiting scene. And
that was also kind of a joke. That was also a little bit of a joke.
Of course.
But yeah, because they do teach geography around here. I will admit that.
There's plenty of wrong turns on the recruiting scenes.
Give the wrong route.
Hey, I'm going to tell you something. I've been to Baton Rouge 24 times. I'd stay there if they'd let me. I love that place.
Hey,
I don't know if I'd want my kid going to college there, but man, I'd like to go hang out down there.
I feel bad for the father-in-law because he's an Aggie that wasn't allowed to go to Baton Rouge and go to LSU. So that's where he wanted to go, and he got stuck in College Station instead. So,
well, at least he got a better degree.
Yeah, that's true. I guess there is always a bright side to everything out there, but it sounds like Texas again. Is they're gonna crank out another really dang good recruiting class here. Now it's fans hearing you talk about Junior Day, you might get an early quarterback commitment, but you know what's going to happen. We're going to have to wait until June, probably July, maybe early August, when you still really start to see these relationships. You see the staff start to hone in. They choose the guys that they're going to, that they really want to add to this program. And so Texas always seems to have a plan in the recruiting world. You heard Brandon Harris say, not an exact quote, but saying that Texas has a bit of a knack for finishing really, really well. And so, again, have some patience on the old recruiting scene in 2027. We always have a little bit of panic in the fan base, just a touch.
Texas fans never, bro.
Just understand every fan base has it. It's just amplified with Texas because it's a global entity.
He's dang right, as usual. But again, man, excited to hear Jay talk about Junior Day. You have more and more portal talk coming up. Texas will add guards, plural, in my opinion. And so excited to see who those names are. So continue watching Inside Texas, guys. Come visit us on the forums. Come hang out on YouTube with us. Continue to drop your comments. It's fun to see them pop up on the board, throw them on screen, and get your guys' opinion or just, share thoughts with you. So thank you guys for that. I know a lot of people are out there watching some Sunday NFL football, so we're going to let y'all get back to that. But for Justin Wells, Nash Talks Texas, myself, thank you guys. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and we'll see you all soon.